Hey guys, what's up? Big Art Reviews here. This is the second time I freaking recorded this video. A special shout out to Shane, who is right behind you. Show yourself, Shane. Yes, he wrote this because the one I wrote was kind of small, and I just think this one looks a lot neater, and y'all deserve the best. So, now, we are breaking down the MCU timeline. I always have a lot of my friends and some viewers asking me when certain movies take place and when certain things take place. So I wanted to just make a video on it so you can always look at this video. Give me that sweet ad revenue. Even though I don't make anything off my videos. Alright, anyways, let's go ahead and get started, ladies and gentlemen. 1942 to 1945, you have, can you guess?
Captain America 1.
Captain America 1, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to abbreviate this because our markers kind of suck. Captain America 1.
That's CM1.
Captain America 1. I messed it up. Anyways, you know what I mean. Okay. There.
Sure, yeah.
Alright, that's Captain America 1, ladies and gentlemen. I messed up. I accidentally thought
No
Captain
other movie
America
takes place in 1945.
Yeah. So Captain America 1, the only scene that doesn't take place in 1942 to 5 is the ending where he escapes from the ice and Nick Fury's talking to him in Times Square. That takes place in 2011, but we're talking about the majority of the movie. And basically, rundown of the movie, he's fighting Nazis. He has to fight the Red Skull. The Red Skull gets teleported. He sacrifices himself into the ice to save millions on the eastern seaboard from bombs. That's Captain America 1 for y'all. We're going to go... Now, in between this, you have actually a TV show, which is Agent Carter. Now, it obviously takes place in the late 40s to early 50s. I don't really watch the show. I just know it takes place there. 1995, Captain Marvel. This is a CM, all right?
That's a CM.
There we go, CM.
Only movie to take place in the 90s.
Now, Shane knows more about that, so pan it to you and you can talk about Captain Marvel because I kind of forgot what happened.
All right. Basically, that's close. All right. Basically, Captain Marvel is a... You just film me. All right. Captain Marvel, basically, she wakes up and she's a Kree, basically, but she's not. She's actually a human. And basically, Skrull's good, Kree bad. She fights Kree at the end. World peace. All right,
Yes.
there it is.
And the end credits scene of Captain Marvel takes place right after Infinity War.
Correct.
But we'll get to that. 2009. Now, a lot of people think Iron Man 1 takes place in 2008. It does not. It's 2009. Iron Man 1, the one that started it all. I am Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr., the best casting for comic book character. Iron Man 1, boys. And women, if you watch this, but I don't usually attract a lot of women. Iron Man 1. Come on, you know what's going on. Iron Man 1, Obadiah Stane. Tony Stark gets hit with his own missile. He gets stuck in I think it's Iraq or something, Middle East, and he makes a robot to get out with his self-sustaining power. Obadiah Stane wants it. He fights Obadiah Stane, kills him, and announces to the world that he is Iron Man because he doesn't give a flying fuck about stereotypes. 2010, a.k.a. Fury's Big Week. Now, it's called Fury's Big Week because you have 3 movies that takes place in the span of 1 week, and this is the order they go in. Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2, he fights Whiplash, and he fights Justin Hammer against robots that Justin Hammer made, and he cures his own sickness by creating a new element with the help of his father, who actually does love him. After this, you have the Incredible Hulk. Not much, talk about Hulk. He fights the Abomination, and then you have... I don't remember much about Hulk.
It was a movie.
It's an okay movie. I mean, you have the Hulk beating Abomination, and then you have whatever the fucking old guy's name is. I'm drawing a blank. I just want to move on from Hulk. Okay, can we do that, please? Okay, let's do it. Right after that, Thor 1.
Thunderbolt Ross.
Thunderbolt Ross. You basically have Iron Man coming up to Thunderbolt Ross talking about the Avengers, but nothing comes out of that.
Right.
So, Thor 1, and a lot of people think Thor 1 takes place before the Incredible Hulk. It does not. It goes, because Iron Man 2 and Hulk take place at the same time, and the end credit scene to Iron Man 2 is the hammer falling down. Basically, Thor gets banned from Asgard because he is not worthy anymore, and he comes down to, like, New Mexico, fucking Walter White territory, meets Jane Foster, he defeats Loki's bot, and Loki falls to his death, and that's that. So now we move on to 2012. 2012, we have 2 movies and 1 TV show that take place. We have Avengers 1. One of the best MCU movies. Avengers 1, basically Loki comes down to get the Tesseract. Hey guys, this is post-editing Joey here. I start stuttering, so I kind of want to re-record this in my own voice where I don't stutter. Basically, Loki comes down with his scepter to get the Tesseract, and the Avengers have to form after Coulson's death, and they fight the Chitauri and Loki, and they end up defeating the Chitauri when I think it was S.H.I.E.L.D. sends the nuke to nuke New York. Tony Stark grabs it, brings it up through the wormhole, and sends it to the mothership, in turn destroying all the Chitauri, and they end up defeating Loki, and Loki and Thor go back to Asgard. Back to it, Joey. And then at the end, you see our first glimpse of Thanos. After Avengers 1, you have... I'm going to put Iron Man first. Iron Man 3. Basically, Iron Man 3, you find out that there's a guy named the Mandarin who is doing all these terrorist attacks thanks to the 10 rings, which you've been seeing throughout the MCU. You find out that he's an actor for the real Mandarin, but it's basically fake because you found out just in a one-shot that the real Mandarin is still out there, and you're going to find it in Marvel's new movie, Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings. But anyways, Iron Man 3, he defeats Pepper defeats the Mandarin, and Tony gets the arc reactor out of his chest, and he still knows that he's Iron Man deep down without the arc reactor. And then you also have, I'm not going to mention a lot of the TV shows, but Daredevil's the one I did watch. So you also have the Daredevil Season 1 TV show, which just takes place after the Avengers. The Netflix shows really aren't connected to the MCU. Like, there's mentions of it in Season 1, but besides that, there's nothing. Okay, 2013, you have one movie, Thor 2.
Bad.
It's bad. There's some good moments in it, but the only thing about it is it's very important to the story of the Infinity Stones because it introduces the Ether. Basically, he fights the Dark Elves Malekith. He gets the Ether, whatever, out of Jane. Kills Malekith. That's all you need to know. All right. I'm sorry. Next one. Oh, and he sends the Reality Stone to the Collector, who you meet in 2014. And in 2014, you have 3 movies: Captain America 2, Winter Soldier. Basically, you find out that S.H.I.E.L.D. is Hydra, and Cap has to fight Hydra. He has to fight the Uppers, and he has to fight. He has to stop this helicarrier from killing millions around the world, including Tony Stark. He ends up doing it. He has to fight Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes, but he gets through to his mind, and Bucky Barnes saves him in the end. And that's the Winter Soldier for y'all, and Nick Fury almost dies. Really good movie, with top 3 MCU movies almost, top 5. After that, you have 2 movies, actually, because they take place 2 months from each other.
Guardians.
Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. Guardians of the Galaxy 1, they're all doing illegal shit. They all get together in the prison. They have to fight Ronan, who has the Power Stone. He's supposed to send to Thanos, but he doesn't. He keeps it for himself, and he's on Xandar, so they fight him. They all, with the power of 5 of them together, Guardians of the Galaxy, they get the Power Stone from him and use it to kill Ronan, and they keep it on Xandar, where 4 years later, Xandar gets obliterated by Thanos, and Thanos takes the Power Stone, but you don't see that on screen, so we're not going to talk about it.
I think we should specify that this is Ronan the Accuser, not the Hawkeye. Ronan.
Yes, no, Ronan the Accuser, who you see in Captain Marvel. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 takes place 2 months after Guardians 1. Basically, Peter finds out his dad is alive, and he goes to their planet, but you actually find out he has kids all over the universe, and he's trying to find the right one to help him make everything him. And he's planted these seeds all around the worlds in the universe, and he has to kill his own father, and Yondu sacrifices himself to save Peter, which is a very sad movie, but it was really good. And James Gunn, you are a beautiful bastard, so please make Guardians 3 good so we can have a good trilogy.
Woody Harrelson, best Yondu.
Woody Harrelson? No, it's not Woody Harrelson, it's fucking Michael Rooker from Walking Dead. Woody Harrelson, what are you talking about?
That was Woody Harrelson.
No.
Looks like him.
No, it doesn't. 2015. We have 2 movies. We have Avengers 2, Age of Ultron, and we have Ant-Man.
Ant-Man, underrated, very good movie.
Very underrated. Avengers 2, basically, Tony wants to create a suit armor around the world. He accidentally creates Ultron. Ultron wants to wipe humans from existence and the Avengers and make a planet of metal. He launches this big piece of Sokovia up in the sky to drop it. The Avengers stop it and cause casualties, which leads into Civil War, which we'll talk about here in a second. You see Thanos get the gauntlet and say he's going to do it himself after sitting on his ass for 4 years. Okay, Ant-Man 1 takes place right after Avengers 2. Scott Lang, he's fighting basically Yellow Jack, who wants to take Hank Pym's Pym particles and create his own suit and make basically use him as a weapon against armies. And he ends up defeating him. It's not really plot driven, it's more funny, but I highly recommend it, and Shane can too. It's very funny and very underrated, unfortunately. 2016, you have 3 films. You have Civil War, Homecoming, and Black Panther. Okay, Civil War. Tony and Steve Sokovia Accords after the Sokovia deaths, and the government wants to regulate them. Tony's all for it. Steve says no, I should be able to do what I want. They end up fighting at the airport, and then Zemo drags Tony, Cap, and Winter Soldier to the place where Winter Soldier was brainwashed, and Tony finds out his parents were killed by Winter Soldier, and then they all fight. Cap beats him, and the Avengers are basically separated into two different parts, and that's the main reason why Thanos wins in Infinity War. It takes place right after is Black Panther. T'Challa goes back home to Wakanda and is sworn in as king, and then Killmonger from Oakland. I always say Killmonger. Killmonger from Oakland, he witnessed the death of his uncle, and he sees this Wakandan tech, and he knows that he's there. So he ends up, with the help of Claw from Age of Ultron, goes and rightfully takes the throne, honestly. I mean, he wins fair and square, so he takes it. And T'Challa regains health a bit, and he comes back and beats Killmonger in one of the most badass lines ever. You can look it up, 'cause, you have to watch the scene for it to impact you, because me saying it's not going to do jack shit. So you want to go watch it. One of the top 2 villains in the MCU, hands down. And then we go on to Homecoming. Sorry, I ran out of room. It takes place right after Civil War also. Peter wants to be an Avenger more, so he keeps contacting Happy and Tony. The Vulture, who was actually at Avengers 1 with the cleanup crew, and Tony Stark kicked them out and had his own crew do it. He wants revenge, so he stole some Chitauri tech and is planning a heist against Tony's plane to take Tony's gear. Peter stops him, but he doesn't kill him because his love interest was his daughter. So he spares his identity from the Scorpion in prison, and that's the last we've seen. Very great villain and very great movie, even though Far From Home is better in my opinion.
MJ much better than whatever.
MJ in Far From Home is 10 times better than she is in Homecoming. Don't base your opinion of MJ off of Homecoming, since Far From Home is out. Go watch Homecoming. 2017, Doctor Strange and Thor 3. Now here we're getting into both of these movies take place over a period of time, and I'll explain why. Doctor Strange actually takes place between 2015 and 2017. He's a renowned neurosurgeon and brain surgeon. Basically the same thing, I don't know why I said it twice. And he basically loses the function of his hands, and he's basically this arrogant prick. He's basically like how Tony was at the beginning. He takes 2 years, he goes, I think, Nepal, meets the Ancient One. And Doctor Strange learns about the quantum realm, and he basically learns about all of this. He learns how to use the time stone. He learns how to be the master of the mystic arts. He has to fight this guy. I forgot his name. I'm calling the actor Matt Mickelson. Kind of forgotten actor. Probably one of the least good ones in Phase 3. He uses the time stone to beat him. He actually goes to Dormammu, stucks him in a time loop, and does it for 1,000 years until Dormammu finally says, enough, I'll leave your planet alone. That's the end of Doctor Strange. Thor 3. Now here's probably the most complicated one on this list, because Thor 3's end credit scene takes place right before Infinity War, which is known to take place in 2018. So Thor 3 takes place in 2017, but how does that happen? Now, the thing going around and the most accepted rule is basically he was on Sakaar for 1 day in Thor 3, but on Earth that was a couple months, because there was a very key, very important dialogue that the Grandmaster says when he says time works differently here. And you have to remember the Devil's Anus is actually a black hole or wormhole of sorts that distorts time. So what everyone comes to believe is he was on Sakaar for a day in Sakaar time, but that's really a couple months on Earth. So by the time the end credit scene happened of Thor 3, we were in 2018.
That's why when you're looking at Sakaar, a whole bunch of junk from different time periods keeps getting dropped into the trash planet.
Yes. And basically he fights Hulk. He has to escape Sakaar. He escapes Sakaar after being banished by Hela from Asgard. He defeats Hela with the help of Ragnarok, and it's the Destiny, and he destroys Ragnarok, and they're off into space, and then Thanos cock blocks him from getting to Earth. Okay, 2018. Big year, because we have Ant-Man 2 and Infinity War. Shane, what do you think of Ant-Man 2?
Ant-Man 2, villain, bad, movie, good.
Villain was bad because it really wasn't a villain. Okay, so basically Ant-Man has to fight Ghost, who was caught in a quantum realm explosion with her parents that killed her parents, and she's basically phasing through reality. And one of Hank Pym's old colleagues from school is basically keeping her alive. And she ends up not being a bad guy. She just needed quantum realm energy. So they end up starting to get it for her at the end, and it turns out that the snap happens and Scott gets stuck in the quantum realm. Every hour in the quantum realm is a year on our time, because 5 years later, 2023, he pops out for Endgame. There's only 5 hours to him. So that's his story. Infinity War takes place right at the end of Ant-Man 2. I mean, we all know Infinity War. Even if you haven't seen any of these movies, you've probably seen Infinity War, or at least Endgame. Thanos comes, he starts collecting all the stones. The Avengers are split from Civil War, so they cannot fight him. They cannot win because they're split. So Thanos ends up getting all the stones. He sacrifices Gamora. He stabs Tony, and he ends up killing Vision twice. And he snaps, and he obliterates half of all life in the universe, including dogs and plants. So it's not just humans. Okay, that's Infinity War. Now we move on to 2023, which is the future. Endgame.
Future.
And Endgame 2023. Now you have to remember, first 20 minutes of Endgame take place in 2018. The remainder of Endgame take place in 2023. First 20 minutes, basically, and the Captain Marvel end credit scene. Captain Marvel goes and saves Tony. Before that, they go to fight Thanos. Or after that, they go to fight Thanos and behead Thanos. And then there's a 5-year time skip. And they go through time. They go to Avengers 1, Thor 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 1. They get all the stones, bring them back, rip Black Widow. Hulk snaps, brings everything back. Whoever died, watch Far From Home because it's very funny how they do it. It's called the blip. Now, the snap is called the decimation. The blip is a totally different thing. The decimation is Thanos' snap. The blip is Hulk's snap. So if you say the blip, you're talking about 2023 when everyone was brought back. If you're talking about the decimation of the snap, that's Thanos' snap, basically. And basically, all of the Avengers or anyone we've ever known in these past 10 years of movies come on the battleground by Avengers HQ, fight Thanos in his forest, and we lose Iron Man, and he snaps his fingers. And we also lost Stan Lee, who is a treasure to most of us, and he will forever be missed, and this was his last cameo. So please rest in peace, Stan Lee. He's the GOAT, and he's brought me a lot of joy in my childhood. Let's get a little bit happier, though, because it's Far From Home. Far From Home is our latest movie. Takes place a couple months after Endgame. Peter's going out of town on this vacation with his school, but he doesn't want to be Spider-Man. He just wants to be Peter Parker. And Mysterio shows up, and he's like, I need help. And Nick Fury recruits him, and Mysterio basically ends up being alive, which if you read the comics, any knowledge of the comics, you kind of saw coming. So if you think this is a spoiler, then take that with you. Basically, he gives Mysterio Edith, which are these glasses that Tony Stark gave him, and he gives him all these control of his drones and stuff. So he's basically creating fake Avenger level threats, and he's making himself look like a hero at the cost of casual people. So Peter ends up defeating him. I think he's still alive. But at the end, you find out Mysterio reveals Peter's true identity to the world, and J. Jonah Jameson is in fact in this universe. And Nick Fury's actually in space with the Skrulls, and that Talos from Captain Marvel was playing Nick Fury.
Also, we could see a future team-up between Vulture and Mysterio in an upcoming Spider-Man movie because of the Sinister Six.
Because we already have Scorpion, but we need to get Oscorp first. So
yes.
So maybe some stuff to add. I mean, that's basically it. There's a Marvel one-shot. It's Iron Man 3s. It's All Hail the King. That's basically where you find out that the real Mandarin is still out there, and the Ten Rings are pissed at Trevor, which is Ben Kingsley's character, who's actually in Shang-Chi in the Legend of the Ten Rings. Our first Asian leader. It's going to be a very good movie. We're finally going to see the real Mandarin, even though Iron Man is not in it, which is sad because that is Iron Man's villain. Defenders, you can place around here. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they have all these episodes scattered throughout. Like, some take place after Civil War, some takes place after Avengers 2. It's just too much shit to be talking about because we're talking about the movies. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you ever have questions that I didn't cover in this video, please let them down below, and I'll try my best to answer them. I usually can. It's just now I'm stuttering a bit. So thank you, Shane, for writing the date. They came out very neat. Thank you, Shane, for recording. And thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe. We'll have some more videos coming out for you soon. Big Reviews and Shane. Peace out.